Hello there, this is Ross Noble here, and I'm on this show right now.
Hi, it's Rochelle Hughes.
Hi, I'm Astro. And I'm Alex from UB40.
Hello, it's Amanda Holden here.
Thursday breakfast on Source FM with Benjamin Makin. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in to Source FM this morning and catching me. Yeah, unfortunately you've caught me. I'm really sorry to disappoint you. It is in fact me, Ben Makin. I'm in the studio at the moment and about to present your Thursday morning science and celebrity breakfast show. But you know what? Just before you tune out, just wait. Just hear me out. I have got some marvellous special guests for you this morning. So hopefully this is going to be a great way to kick off your Thursday, basically. All right. So shall I tell you who we've got coming up? Well then. Well, first of all, this morning we've got a bit of a thank you teachers note. Yes, thank you, teachers. Teachers, of course, in Cornwall have broken up. Yesterday, lots of teachers across the country have already broken up. So if you're a teacher and you've just broken up for the school summer holidays, then thank you, teacher. We've got a bit of an interview with Craig Gallivan. He is in the School of Rock musical. He plays, you've probably seen the film, right, with Jack Black. Well, he plays Jack Black's character on the stage in London. There's actually still some tickets for this you can pick up over this weekend, so check it out. But he is thanking his teachers, in particular his music teacher, obviously, because he's a bit of a musician star himself. But we're going to make it a bit more general. We're going to, reminisce a little bit as well. So this is going to be a really nice interview, so I hope you enjoy that one. We also have the fantastic, the extremely badass Aldo Kane. Aldo, he's just dropped a new TV series, Expedition, with Steve Backshall on UK TV's Dave. But you know what? As I said, he is a bit of a badass because he's a former Royal Marine sniper, first of all. He's also an adventurer, and he's also a stunt rigger in Avengers. So yes, this is the man who the Avengers turn to when they want to do their stunts. Pretty badass. And you know what as well? He went on a mission. He went on this adventure where he was responsible for the safety, you ready for this? For the safety of Superman. That's right, he looked after Henry Cavill himself. Well, Superman or Geralt, actually, because of course Netflix have just dropped their new trailer for The Witcher, and Henry Cavill stars in that as well. So Geralt of Rivia and Superman both go to this man for help. He's sounding quite badass, isn't he? And I'm sounding super nerdy right now. Shall we move on? Well, Aldo is going to be awesome, so we're going to chat to him as well this morning. Very exciting stuff. Now, if you want to hear a bit, a bit on nature and the natural world, we've got you sorted as well, because we've got the fantastic Michaela Strachan, of course, best known for her work on Springwatch. Now, we also actually had Chris Packham on the show recently, so we are collecting our Springwatch presenters. That sounds really quite disturbing, doesn't it? I might rephrase that. We are delighted to welcome another Springwatch presenter to the show. It's a bit more normal, isn't it? Normal sounding. Anyway, today, Michaela is chatting alongside the head of climate change at WWF. That's Gareth Redmond King. They're going to give us some tips. Just some small things that we can do in our everyday lives to make a big difference. We're going beyond the kind of plastic bags and reusable plastic things now. Everybody knows about this. But what are some more tips that we can, use to help the environment? Well, Michaela and Gareth will be on the show to chat a little bit about that. We also have news of a bit of an amazing new high-powered and high-speed sailing sport. That's Sail GP. I've actually got 3 of the guys from the Great Britain squad on the show this morning as well. That's Olympic rowing gold and double world champion Matt Gottrell, alongside Chris Draper, he's a 2004 Olympic bronze medalist, and Richard Mason. He's best known for his work in the Volvo Ocean Race. So this is pretty awesome, and I'm going to tell you, it does look pretty scary. They go extremely fast in this racing, so this is one of the key things. It's all inshore, so it's in harbour towns around the world, and it's very, very high speed. So we will get the guys to tell us a little bit about that sport, and also where they're up to in the current global competition. Where are we, guys? Where are we? How are we doing? You will find out very shortly indeed. Now, we'll see how we go for time this morning, because I would like to get all of these very special guests on, but of course, unfortunately, the time... The clock, the evil clock, it will be against us, so we'll see. But anyway, we also have Lucy Alexander from Homes Under the Hammer on the show as well. She's got a bit of a safety announcement. No. Before you tune out, I heard you going, oh no, not a safety announcement. Yes, but it's going to be fun, because it's Lucy Alexander from Homes Under the Hammer. We're also talking about her top tips when buying properties. So Lucy, it's going to be awesome. Yep, she's here. Now, we also have Will Mellor, actor and singer Will. Best known for his role in 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps. That is a TV show. I haven't just listed random objects there. But anyway, Will is on the show as well. We're going to have a very quick chat about open mic nights and pub nights. So if that's your kind of thing, we have to get some kind of, just good old chatting, good old banter in. So, of course, I've got you covered there as well. Right then, okay, let's get this show started, people. I think we're going to kick off with that thank you teacher's note from Craig Gallivan, the fantastic Craig. Now, there is just one crucial question we've got to get over and done with first, haven't we? Has he got the pick of destiny? Do you know what on earth I'm talking about there? If you don't, this is going to sound extremely bizarre, but please just put up with it just for a little bit, because hopefully it will return to normality rapidly after that. Maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, let's get the show kicked off. I'm declaring the show started. Thursday breakfast on Source FM. Craig, I'm going to have to ask you one question just before we start as well, because I am assuming that you have been actually entrusted with the pick of destiny. Is that right? Do you have the pick of destiny in your possession?
I've got the pick of destiny. It never leaves my side.
Excellent. I hope it's round your neck on a string necklace, like the way that it's supposed to be worn.
Exactly that.
Awesome. First of all, I'd just like to just give you the chance to dive right in and introduce yourselves to start with, if that's okay. And then I will, I'll fire some questions your way about this release today.
Yeah, so my name's Craig Gallivan. I play Dewey Finn in School of Rock, London in the West End.
Thanks, Craig. And of course, it is a fantastic time to be celebrating teachers, really, isn't it? Because, of course, end of term is coming up for kids everywhere, and really, it's a nice time just to think back upon those teachers that might have inspired you. And actually, you know what? I was thinking to start with, I can just already picture all of the teachers from my childhood, and actually there are a load of inspirational ones. So I think it's a really nice thing to just remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to forget, isn't it? Well, not forget, but at the time when you are in school, you don't really realise quite the impact that the teachers are having on you. It's taken for granted. I mean, you put in nursery in school and you just think, well, this is what we do, and off we go. And then as you grow up and you start to have that nostalgia for school, the stress-free days of school, as I like to think of them, and you think, wow, those teachers really had an impact on me. I can think of a couple straight away off the top of my head. I'm sure your listeners that feel the same, that there's always the handful of standout teachers that really had an impact on you through their passion and their encouragement and the way they just make you feel like you can achieve stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm actually currently just finishing up a PhD, and there's one teacher in particular, Mrs. Cartley, she's called, and I can definitely thank her for taking this kind of science route. So that, as you say, there are definitely just a number that spring to mind straight away. Does it also make you feel just a teensy bit guilty for all of the teachers that you were a bit, badly behaved for? Because it does kind of summon a bit of feelings. One of my friends actually the other day was telling me a dreadful story about what they did to wind up one of their teachers, and I think this is so harsh. What they did, right? A music teacher, and he even said she was an absolutely fantastic teacher, and they all absolutely loved her, but they still just were absolute terrors in her class. So what they did was they, of course, the classic press the demo button on the keyboard, which makes this really irritating music. But they also locked her in this cabinet with all of these keyboards, which is, I think, that's super harsh, right? They took that to the next level. That's so harsh. Poor teacher.
I've heard of the locked in the cupboard one, but not with a bunch of keyboards on demo mode. That is pretty brutal.
I know, that's just unbelievable.
That's gone up to a new level.
It really has. Come on then, guys. You've got to admit it. Do you have particular teachers that you can still think of, now, and looking back, you want to say thanks to? Is there anything like that you've got off the top of your head now?
I've got a great teacher that was my music teacher, actually, so it's no surprise that I was drawn to him being a musician. In my secondary school, called Mr. Jones, who I still speak to this day, even 20 years on. He just had such care for us, and you really could tell that he went the extra mile, He used to come to all our gigs. We were in a school band, and we used to gig in some of the pubs around Swansea. I mean, he used to just come to all the gigs, and I think he chucked in some money one time for us to buy a guitar amp. And, again, I suppose we were aware of it at the time. We were aware that this was extraordinary, and it wasn't the norm. But even more so now, looking back, thinking of all the extra hours he put in above and beyond. It's special, and there's a lot of teachers out there. He's not that rare. I'm sure there's teachers every single day, going above and beyond for their pupils.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, a big shout out to Mr. Jones now then. That's awesome. What an epic teacher. As you say, tons of epic teachers out there, right? It's sad, isn't it, looking back? You really wish we could go back and just just say, oh, thank you so much. I'm only here now because of you. Craig, I've just thought as well, you've got a really easy thing you can do. You could just sell Mr. Jones some tickets for the show, can't you? Perfect.
I should have thrown him some tickets, shouldn't I? I've still got time, yeah. I'll chuck him a couple of tickets. That's a great idea.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, fantastic. And you know what? I'd absolutely love, because this is highly, highly appropriate, especially for yourself, Craig, to get a song request out of you today. I don't know if I can interest you in a little song to play on the show alongside your appearance today. Because I'd like to. Quite difficult. I know it's a bit on the spot, because it's always difficult to think of favourite songs on the spot. But if you do have anything, I'm gonna have to play.
Tell you what I'll go for, because I'm listening to it at the moment a lot while I'm travelling on the sunny tubes in London, is a bit of Fleetwood Mac. Go Your Own Way.
Oh yeah. What a choice. Nice one. Thank you. Yeah. Craig Gallivan, thank you so much, sir. What a cheeky legend. I am a bit disappointed that I haven't received tickets, Craig. I was waiting. I slipped that in there thinking, oh, well, tell you what, if I suggest that he gives tickets to his teacher, maybe he'll be like, oh, Ben, did you want one as well? I don't suppose you do. And he didn't. Can't believe it. Anyway, Craig, sorry. I shouldn't complain. You came on the show. So fantastic to have you. Fantastic chat to you. And, Craig, what a song request as well. Let's get that straight on, shall we? Bit of Fleetwood Mac. Perfect for a Thursday morning, I say.
I don't know what it is that makes me feel like this. I don't know who you are, but Source FM, you all are superstars.
Thursday breakfast on Source FM. Oh, what a song there! Okay, well, next up on the show, it is a very, very special man. Here is a bit. Now, I've said this a number of times already, but I'm going to say it one more time. In fact, no, that's a lie. A load more times. He is a badass, okay? Aldo Kane. He's just dropped his new TV show, Expedition, on Dave, so you can check it out. It's on the catch-up now as well, the first couple of episodes. Still ongoing. I believe it's going for 10 episodes, so 10 weeks this is running for. But just to give you a little flavour of the kind of things he gets up to. Are you ready for this? So basically, being a Royal Marine and a Royal Marine sniper apparently wasn't badass enough. So then he decided, nah, you know what? I'm going to become an adventurer. I'm going to do things like abseil into active volcanoes. That's the kind of thing he does. He also looked after Superman himself, Henry Cavill, in the desert. And he's also a stunt rigger on Avengers. So come on. Isn't that just the coolest thing? Yeah, I just let that sink in. He's the guy who the Avengers go to when they want to do their stunts. All right, sorry, this is sounding super nerdy. Let's just get the man on. Sorry, Aldo, mate. Sound like a right idiot now. Let's just get him on, shall we? Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit of an Aldo fanboy. Apparently, I didn't know that before I started the show, but apparently I really am. Anyway, Aldo, here he is. Fantastic guy. Got a great song request as well. So stay with us. Stay with us. We've got tons, and I mean tons, of special guests today. Very exciting stuff. Aldo Kane, ladies and gents.
My name is Aldo Kane, and I work in adventure television, basically.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Aldo. Now, can I just tell you to start with, you have definitely won the title of most badass guest on the show ever.
Excellent.
You've taken
Winning
the spot.
Already.
You've taken the spot. I think the last most badass guest was Ross Edgley, but you've won, I'm afraid. I think you've taken the spot now.
He's a good guy, Ross.
Yeah, you've won though, mate. I mean, I wonder if we could just start by talking about some of those experiences. I mean, I know you've been in a bunch of pretty incredible situations, particularly throughout your filming career. I wonder if is there any kind of obvious ones that stand out to you that you could tell our listeners about today?
I guess I work my company Vertical Planet. We sort of look after television and film crews around the world, extreme, remote, hostile environments. So I get certainly over the last 10 years, that's been everything from working with drug cartels to inside active volcanoes to out in West Africa during the Ebola outbreak, and all the way through to fun stuff like stunt rigging on the Avengers. So it's really quite a mixed bag of jobs that I get to do. I'm super lucky. But I would say some of the standout moments, say in the last sort of 2 or 3 years alone, would be certainly working inside Nyiragongo volcano in Virunga. That volcano and that national park, the Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the most beautiful, stunning places that I've ever had the pleasure of going to. And then to be able to rig up and drop down inside an active volcano, that's just something it's just something that you're never going to do in a normal day's work. And I've been lucky enough to be back there 3 times, and that has quite a strong sort of point for me. And it was also the first job that I did in television, so I've got soft spot for that, even though it's a particularly harsh environment to be working in and fraught with dangers, but it's got a soft spot there.
Fantastic. Yeah, I don't think many people can say that they'd willingly go into a volcano, to be perfectly honest, Aldo. So you're definitely winning. And tell us a bit about, if that's okay with you, Aldo, the brand new show that's coming out, because this is sounding pretty awesome. We're going to see some more adventures going on, aren't we?
That's right. There's 10 parts. So the series is called Expedition with Steve Backshaw, and so it's basically Steve has handpicked a team of film crew and myself, and we head off around the world in search of world firsts in the adventure world, and certainly just adventure. It's about the process of going through to do these world firsts as much as it is about achieving them. We visit 10 countries, there's 10 episodes, and we go from the jungle in Suriname through to the desert canyons of Oman, through to whitewater kayaking in Bhutan, into the deep cave systems of Borneo, and then up into the frozen Arctic of Greenland, and then back into cave diving in Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula. So it's an action-packed 10-part series that's just been an absolute dream to work on.
Oh, fantastic. You know what, it just sounds like basically a travel show, but with a big difference, an extremely exciting travel show. Sounds like amazing.
Anywhere that Steve Backshaw goes is not glamorous, and it usually means that we're going to be spending weeks underneath the jungle canopy, being bitten by insects and completely drenched.
Yeah, I bet you've got some unpleasant memories as well as the exciting moments with you.
Yeah, it's good. With the passage of time, you tend to forget all the bad ones and only see all the expeditions with rose-tinted spectacles.
You know, one of the questions I was hoping to ask was, obviously as a survival expert yourself, what would you not leave the house without? I bet it's going to be mozzie spray, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's, you know, Steve and I were laughing in the last one in Borneo. We just spent 3 weeks, probably in one of the most remote places in the Sangkularang area, and we were sort of laughing at each other. We arrived there, and because we had done so many expeditions over the last year, you know, I was getting close to 12. We'd become complacent, and then both Steve and I sort of turned up to do this hardcore expedition in the jungle, and you know, I brought all the wrong kit. Steve's forgotten some of his kit, and we were just sort of, that's what happens after a year of doing expeditions. You get complacent. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds incredible. And you know, I was really hoping as well, towards the end of the interview, actually, I was going to give you a little song request, Aldo, and I was hoping there'll be some kind of, I don't know, do you have in your head a kind of amazing adventure soundtrack that I could play for you? Just to say thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah. Do you know what? Every time I travel, I take music with me and I listen to music, and usually my default when I'm going further and further away from civilization is back to folk. So anything, I guess, by Mumford and Sons.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'll happily get those on. It's been too long since I listened to them, actually. Just a final couple of questions, if that's cool, and I will let you go today. But
no worries.
First of all, I wonder if we could just remind our listeners when the show's on and how they can catch it, basically.
That's right. It's called Expedition with Steve Backshaw, and it's on Dave Channel. It runs for 10 weeks, and you can also get them all on catch up on UK TV Play.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Aldo. My very last question for you then, I promise I will let you go, so thanks very much. And of course, if there is anything that you'd like to add, you are very, very welcome to do that. But my final question, really, I just wanted to know what it was like looking after Superman himself, basically, because of course you did look after Henry.
That's right. We did an expedition show a couple of years ago called Driven to Extremes, and I was lucky enough to work with Tom Hardy, Adrian Brody, and Henry, and all of these guys it was super amazing to work with them. they are pretty badass in their own right. So yeah, working with Henry out in the Makin Desert in China was, I think we were in the hottest place, or the hottest inhabited place at that time. So it was a pretty hardcore expedition. But yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks, Aldo. You know what? Even if Henry came on the show, you would still be the most badass guest ever. So.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aldo. I'll let you go. Thanks so much for your time today.
Praise indeed. Cheers.
Thursday breakfast on Source FM.
Epic song request from an epic man. That was Aldo Kane. Thanks very much again, Aldo. Pleasure having you on the show. Now, I've told this story probably 1,000 times now, but I just want to tell it one more time because we're on the topic of adventures, and I want to recount one of my best adventures ever. This was with Callum. So Callum Dufford, if you're listening, sir, this is a bit of a shout out to yourself. Basically, me and Callum, we were camping on the Serengeti in Africa, as you do. This was our adventure. It's not adventure, you say. And Callum was wrapped up inside, all nice and safe, safely wrapped up inside his mosquito net. And Callum, I should tell you, has a dreadful phobia of spiders. I'm not a fan, but Callum really has a dreadful phobia of them. And as you know, in Africa, you get some pretty humongous spiders. Anyway, he was inside his mosquito net, just drifting off to sleep quite nicely at night, and he suddenly said, Ben, if I wake up and there's a spider inside this net with me, kill me. I said, Callum, come on, you're being a bit... No, just kill me. So, okay, mate, but if you think about it, how is a spider, especially the really big spiders that we're scared of, right, how are they possibly going to get inside your net, right? Mosquitoes can't get in your net. How is a spider going to get in there? He said, yeah, okay, yeah, good point. So I went off to sleep, and early that next morning, I was woken up by some expletives, which I will not repeat here, because, of course, it's pre-9 a.m., probably a bit early for such words. Anyway, it's understandable because, well, I looked over, and I saw that Callum he'd woken up, of course, and he was, swearing like a bit of a trooper, really. And he had his torch beam, and it had just caught something. It looked like perhaps a trapped leaf or something. Caught some debris, yeah, just something like that. I don't know, nothing scary, hopefully. Caught in his net. And I looked over and said, Callum, are you okay, mate? What on earth's wrong? And he said, Ben, kill me. Yes, it turned out that this huge spider had somehow managed to get inside his net with him. Callum, just in hindsight, it was probably already in your net, so enjoy that thought next time you go to sleep. It was probably on your body the whole time whilst you were asleep. Anyway, I had to dispose of the spider, unfortunately. I know, not very conservation biology of me, was it really? But I'm sorry, guys, but it had to go. It just had to go. We had to get it out. Anyway, in honour of that story... Sorry, I'm probably boring you to death with that story. I've told it so many times. But anyway, in honour of that story and in honour of Callum himself, I'm going to have to play this little track now. You know what it is. Now, I also want to thank a listener, a very special listener, Mr. Reece Samuel. Thank you for tuning in this morning, sir. And you know what? I'm going to have to get a little tune on for you now. You know, the great thing about Reece is he openly admits to being a massive One Direction fan. And you know what? Me too! And I really wish, if I just had one wish, this summer, just one wish, the 1D boys to reunite. How amazing would that be? Anyway, we can all dream, but I'm just going to get this on for now. Also, Dad, if you're listening, I do hope you've got your One Direction socks on again today. Because yesterday he had them on in honour of my Coast FM show. So I'm hoping, Dad, I'm going to be very disappointed with you if you don't have them on again today. Anyway, moving on with the show then. Because, you know what, we have still got a load of really, really cool, really awesome guests coming up. Next up, it is the one and only Michaela Strachan. Of course, Michaela, best known for being one of the Springwatch presenters. She's talking alongside the head of climate change at WWF today, Gareth Redmond King. I can't get out of my head that means that Gareth Redmond King is the head of climate change at a wrestling company. For some reason, I've just got that in my head. No, it isn't. It isn't that. It's the Worldwide Fund, of course. Gareth Redmond King from the WWF. So they're going to give us some tips about some small things that everyone can do to massively benefit the environment. Of course, this comes at a time when everybody is getting more and more aware of just how urgent it is that we all do something to help the environment. So here we go. Michaela and Gareth are here to give us a hand with that, basically. There is a particular song as well which is going to have to come on now. Those of you who don't know, Michaela actually has her own song written for her by Scouting for Girls. Yep. I'm being serious here. It is called Michaela Strachan as well. Those of you who know, yeah, you've probably already heard it. Anyway, I might have to play that as well after this interview. They've both got some song requests as well, and I'm going to warn you, particularly one of these song requests is very, very touching. So it's going to hit you like a freight train, basically. But anyway, let's get this interview on with Michaela and Gareth, first of all. Hope you enjoy, guys.
I'm Michaela Strachan. I'm a wildlife presenter for programmes like Springwatch.
And I'm Gareth King. I am Head of Climate Change for WWF UK.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Michaela and Gareth, a very warm welcome to you. Thanks very much for chatting to us today. And this is absolutely fantastic to have you on the line because, of course, this is a topic which everybody is getting more and more passionate about, which is absolutely fantastic. And that is, of course, looking after the environment. And actually, I can see here in front of me, looks like we've got some really good tips for people today. But I wonder if we could just start. I'll just hand over straight to you both. And we could just talk a little bit about just how important it is that we are, taking this really seriously now. And actually, this quote straight off the WWF website, I really like this. I'll just read this to start with. The trouble is, we think we have time, and of course, that time has now run out, hasn't it?
Exactly. We're kind of we've realised just how much harm we're doing to the planet, just at the point where we might be the last generation capable of preventing climate breakdown, and that's why. And it's helpful that there are the levels of public concern about this are at the highest levels they've ever been. And what this new research from Old Moot shows is that 8 out of 10 people are so concerned about it that they want to take action. They want to know how their choices can reduce their own impact and have an influence on businesses and on government, and how they can help solve this problem.
It's really, really encouraging to know that people are really starting to care. And of course, Michaela, I'll turn to yourself. Of course, you've always been clearly a massive advocate for the environment with all of your TV work over the years. So I think it's absolutely brilliant that we've got you here with us as well. And I know you've put together some tips for people, haven't you?
We have, because what we found out, there was research done by Old Moot Cider that's working as a partnership with WWF, and they did a survey to see just how many people want to change. And the good news is 80% of the British public want to make changes. And that's a huge change from, 20 years ago when most people were just doing a bit of recycling, but that was it. Now people are saying, we want to change, we're not sure how we change. And obviously a lot of the change has to come from politicians, but there are certain things that we can do, little changes in our life that if we all do them, will make a difference. And we've gone past the plastic, single-use plastic bags in supermarkets. I hope none of your listeners are still doing that, because we've been banging on for that about that for a long time. So let's go forward from that and come up with some other ones. And let's get in a conversation with our friends to say, what are you doing? Have you got good ideas? And celebrate the ideas that people are doing and encourage people to keep moving forward. So, I'll give you just a couple of examples. And if people are interested, they can find out all these examples on the website, which
Fantastic.
is oldmootcider.co.uk/WWF. Because it's a list of 10, so I'll just give you a couple.
Sure, that'd be fantastic.
One is
Michaela.
gardens, and we've been talking about this a lot on Springwatch, for instance. Let's rewild our gardens. We've gone past wanting to just put paving stones all over your gardens. We've got to bring the insects back. We've got to bring the wildlife back. We've got to bring the wildlife corridors back. So rewild your gardens. And there's so much information these days online that you can go to just start very simple little steps that will make a big difference. One that I really like on the list is green gifting. And it's something that I really encourage because, certainly when you get to my age, I'm 53, I don't need any more stuff in my house. I'm trying to declutter. I don't need any more candles. I don't need any more scarves. Books, often people buy me books that maybe I'm never going to read, so I give them away to someone else. So I really like it when people give me something that's meaningful. And for my 50th, for instance, I got everyone to buy me a tree through a charity, and then we went and we planted 50 trees. I got, 50, I asked for 50 trees, got 50 trees, and we planted them in a disadvantaged area. That's a gift that keeps on giving. I felt good about it. People that gave the trees felt good about it, and the planet felt good about it. So, adopt kids' animals. Kids at Christmas get the most ridiculous amount of presents half the time. Not all kids, but a lot of kids do. Every year I buy, with other things as well, I buy my son an adopted animal, and he loves it. And I think, what animal have we been particularly close to this year? Well, penguins. Let's buy him a penguin. Let's get him a pangolin. Let's get him a rhino, a tiger, whatever. So he's got a whole wall of adopted animals.
Yes, fantastic.
So that's a simple one that we can all do, and it makes a difference to the charities that you're doing it through. One that Again, this is why I think it's great to have conversations. Use green search engines. I'd never heard of that. And apparently there are green search engines out there that every time you search, and obviously they get money because there's advertising that comes up on the search engine, they put a lot of that money towards planting trees. So, you use green search engines, it's not going to make any difference to you whether you use a green one or a non-green one, and yet it makes a difference to the planet. So to say, these are simple tips that we're suggesting that if everybody did, will make a difference.
That's absolutely fantastic. I really like your point there about the adopting animals as well, because of course, so many kids are absolutely, captivated by the natural world, and actually, instead of getting them, perhaps a cuddly toy or something of an animal, why don't you actually, if you adopt an animal for them, then of course they know that they're actually helping a real animal, whatever their favourite animal might be, they're helping that for real, in the real world. I think that's fantastic.
Although I must say, because WWF, of course, do lots of great animals, but I was once promoting sharks,
yes,
through the charity, and this little girl came up to me and she said, I really want to help sharks, how do I do it? And I said, well, what you could do is you could adopt a shark through the charity. And I said, and that's a great way of helping. But she went away, she came back, she said, Mum says it's okay to do that, but we're not sure where we're going to put the shark. Well, of course, you don't get the shark or the orangutan or the penguin. You just get the certificate.
Amazing. Well, that probably came as quite a disappointment to her, though, I imagine. I think she's probably looking forward to getting the shark. Amazing. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for those tips. And as you say, people can check out the full list online, can't they?
Yeah, they can, and there are loads of other ideas. I mean, another one that we love is to not wash your clothes so much. I mean, people are obsessed with being clean, but really, do we need to wash our clothes? Stella McCartney said recently, wash your jeans every 3 months. I think it depends where you've worn them and how often you wear them in those 3 months.
Yes.
But, don't do a 3-hour wash. Use biodegradable washing powder, eco-friendly washing powder, all these things that we do every day that we can change, and they're simple changes.
And Michaela, just one more question for yourself, if that's okay, and I'll turn to yourself, Gareth, and I won't keep you too much longer now, but thanks for your time so far. Has it been kind of interesting for yourself, because of course, being in the area of presenting all about the natural world to people over the years, have you kind of seen this shift from, people just being interested in the natural world, of course, and being really passionate about the natural world, but now to people realising that actually, the conservation really must be functional. People must do things about it. Have you kind of seen that shift occurring where people are actually starting to get more, interested, but also concerned?
I think this year there's been a major shift, and it's a very exciting time. And I think with things like the Extinction Rebellion, with Greta Thunberg, all these things that are going on. Even David Attenborough, at the age of 93, is starting to campaign, and does amazing programs that have a campaigning message in it. That's a huge change for someone like David Attenborough. He used to just show us how beautiful the world was,
yes,
without the sort of side that actually it needs help. So I find it a very exciting time in conservation, and I feel that there's a real conscious shift from the general members of the public, and not just people like myself and like Gareth and and people that are involved in conservation. It tends to be the general public. I was chatting to a plumber the other day who was telling me all about what he's doing to change the things that he can change to help the environment. So it's the general person in the street that is now wanting change.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that, Michaela. And Gareth, I'll turn to yourself. Thanks for being on the line as well with us. I wonder if we could just kind of, I suppose, just mention a bit about the WWF for people who are listening in today. And also, of course, if people want to help out in any way, I wonder if you could just remind them how they can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So WWF is the biggest conservation charity in the world, and we are about protecting a world for people and nature. So, thinking about some of those amazing stories that David Attenborough has been telling down the years about wildlife, we worked with him and with Netflix recently and Silverback Films to produce Our Planet, because we wanted to tell that story in a way that tried to convey to people the harm that we're doing as humans and some of the solutions to fixing that. So that's what we really want to engage people in. We want to build a movement of people who want to take action, raise their voices, and demand change from governments. And if anybody wants to find out more about that and how to lend us their voice, and also more information about the sort of choices that you can make in your day-to-day life that make a change, then please come to the WWF website, and it's all there.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Gareth. That's fantastic, and thank you, Michaela, as well. I'll just ask just a final couple of questions, and I'll let you go. First of all, just give you another chance. If there's anything that I've missed today in my questions or anything that you didn't get the chance to get across, you are very, very welcome to do that now. And finally, just a little song request. I don't know if I can get a little song on for you both today. And Michaela, I don't know. I mean, is it going to be the Scouting for Girls song for you? I'm not sure. Could it be? You do know what I'm talking about, don't you?
But I mean, I have a song that runs through my life, and it is I get knocked down, but I get up again. You ain't ever going to get me down. And let's celebrate that with the planet as well. We've knocked the planet down, but let's all get it back up again.
There we go. That's a fantastic choice. Thanks, Michaela. And Gareth, for yourself, good sir, I'm going to have to give you one as well. So
I couldn't possibly sing it. I couldn't possibly do it justice, but I would recommend the song which Ellie Goulding released recently, which actually was the kind of title song to Our Planet. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's about us as humans and what we need to do to protect our planet.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's perfectly fitting. Well, thank you very much to both of you.
Very happy. Very happy.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, both. A pleasure to have you, and I'll let you go. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thursday breakfast on Source FM.
Michaela Strachan and Gareth Redmond King, thank you so much both. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show talking all about the environment there. And what a couple of storming song requests there. I will get those both on. Oh, there we go then, there we go. Now, it's time for a bit of a chat with my new pal, my new best bud, Will Mellor. Now, he's an English actor, singer, and, this comes as no surprise, a model. He's a very, very steamy man. Bit of a recurring theme, isn't it, on the show? I have a lot of steamy men on it. Yeah. Well, that's it. Well, he's best known for his television roles, including Jambo Bolton in Hollyoaks, Gaz Wilkinson in 2 Pints of Lager and a Packet of Crisps, DC Spike Tanner in No Offence, Steve Connolly in Broadchurch, Georgie in Barking, and Ollie Curry in White Van Man. So come on, there's got to be at least a couple of things in there that you know him from. Will Mellor is your man. Yeah, as well, I don't know why, but he doesn't really make it very well known, but he's a bit of a superstar singer as well. Got some tracks out. Maybe I should play a few at the end of the show if I have time. Anyway, we had a very quick chat just about pubs and open mic nights. So this is a bit of a shout out really to my guitar teacher Guy, who's still running an epic open mic night in the Midlands. So if that's your kind of cup of tea, if that's your thing, look him up. Guy Rogers, Guy's Acoustic Picking Session. Shout out to you, buddy. Anyway, let's get him on. We're going to have a bit of a chat after that climate change interview with Michaela and Gareth. Thanks for those. Still going to get your songs on as well, Michaela and Gareth. Don't worry about it. I do not forget any song requests. So we're going to have a little chat with Will. Then we've got some sailors on the show. And then we'll see how Time's doing, because we also have an interview with Lucy Alexander from Homes Under the Hammer. But we'll see how we go. Right, anyway. Little chat with Will first. My good pal Will. Yeah, buddy. Here he is. You know what, I'm going to have to give a bit of a shout out, if that's okay, to the barman Scott, ex-barman Scott at one of my favourite locals actually. He'd always liked to test his cocktails on us first before he released them upon the general public, so that was always quite fun.
It could have been very dangerous, though.
But sometimes it was, I can tell you, very, very dangerous, yes. Will, I bet you're the absolute boss at open mic nights, actually. Do you ever crack out your tracks when you go there?
No, I've never seen my own songs. My God, no, why would I? No, I have done a few open mics because I play the piano and stuff, so I play some of my own songs I've written, or bit of the bits and bobs. But I don't take myself too seriously at all. It's a bit of fun. There's a few pubs near me that do it, and what I like about the open mic nights is you never know what's going to come on or through the door, and people are sat there with their guitars, and you think, I wonder if he's going to be any good or not, and
yes.
They get up and they'll sing their own song or they'll sing a cover, and I love that. It's live entertainment in the pub. It's perfect. As I say, they're happening all over the place.
Yeah, I must say, actually, I personally am a massive fan of open mic nights. In particular, there's this fantastic chap who used to attend, and he kind of had... When you first see me, you think, "Oh no, he's going to be a bit mad." Actually, kind of crazy white hair all over the place, and he sits down with his guitar, and you think, "What's coming next?" But it turns out he was an absolutely fabulous jazz guitarist. It really was incredible, and he came pretty much every week, on the dot at a certain time, and yeah, it was incredible. So I definitely advise people to get involved with open mics in particular too.
Definitely get involved. Get out and be social, and look out for your fellow neighbour or fellow man who you might think might be a bit lonely. Get them down the pub, have a little chat, and especially the older generation, there's a lot of lonely people out there. Encourage them to get out and have some fun.
Well, that's a really nice message to finish on. Thanks very much, Will. Just wanted to say as well, very excited about your Instagram post about your potentially the 2 pint special coming up. So that's fantastic news. So I just wanted to say we're excited about that.
Yeah, well, we want to. It's very difficult because of the cast. We all work individually on different projects, and it's hard to get us together. And it's not with the want of trying. I just think it'd be a right time to give back to the people that supported the show in the first place, and maybe make a special one-off. If we don't do that, then maybe a little spin-off. But we're going to try and do something in the future. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes out for that. Well, thanks so much, Will. I'll let you go, and thanks again for your time. I wonder as well if I could just get if you'd like a song request, Will, because I know you're a very musical man, so I don't know if you had a favourite song I could play for you today at all.
What, a current song or an old one?
It can be absolutely anything. So anything that you're thinking, anything that you like, it's coming on just for you.
I'm going to put a song on that was actually my first dance at my wedding. It's Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Will. That's absolutely perfect. I'll let you go then. Thanks for your time today. Absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Bit of Stevie Wonder at 8:43 on a Thursday morning. Yes, please.
What's up, guys? This is Ollie Proudlock. You back?
That was limp like a wet cabbage.
We are in this studio being thoroughly bouncy. Hi, I'm Scarlett Moffat, and I will be on Source FM talking about sausages with Ben.
Thursday breakfast on Source FM.
Now then, okay, it's coming towards the end of the show, so I've just got time for one more interview. The final interview will be available on the catch-up show, though, so I'm going to amend it to the show. It's going to be a bit like a Frankenstein show, because it's going to be clipped onto the end. Yeah, that sounds a bit weird. There was a kind of pointless imagery for you there, wasn't it? Anyway, just towards the end of the show, I would like to now invite 3 fantastic athletes to the show. This is actually 3 guys from the Great Britain squad from the Sail GP team. This is a new sport, actually. It's a high-speed sailing racing competition. Global competition, and it sounds incredibly adrenaline-fueled, okay? I watched some YouTube clips of it on their catch-up thing, and yeah, they go seriously fast, okay? So basically, perfect for any fans of sailing out there who want something just a bit more exciting. I don't know, are there any people like that out there? Well, this is kind of answering your call there, really, isn't it? This is Matt Gottschall. He's an Olympic rowing gold and double world champion alongside Chris Draper, 2004 Olympic bronze medalist, and Richard Mason, who's best known for his work at the Volvo Ocean Race. These are 3 guys from the GB squad for Sail GP. Let's get them on. You tell us all about the sport, where we're at the moment in terms of the competition, and what we've got still to come. Here they are, guys. Enjoy this.
Hey, I'm Chris Draper. I'm the CEO and wing trimmer from the Great Britain Sail GP team.
I'm Matt Gottschall. I'm one of the grinders on the boat. I'm part of the Great Britain Sail GP team.
My name's Rich Mason. I'm a grinder on the boat as well with the Great Britain team.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, chaps. It's absolutely fantastic to have you. Now, let's kind of tell our listeners a bit about this fantastic new sailing sport that's actually going to kind of come into the UK very soon, isn't it? So we're going to be taking the country by storm, basically.
Yeah, it's very much dubbed the Formula One of sailing. It's called Sail GP, and we're racing hydrofoiling wing-powered sailboats. So what that means to the non-sailor is the boats are hovering above the water, which enables us to get to really, really high speeds, like sort of 60 miles an hour, which if any of you have done any time on the water at all know that feels like you're going absolute warp speed. And then the boats are powered by a wing similar to what powers a 747 or something like, or a normal plane. So it enables us to harness enormous energy from the wind and transfer that into very, very high speeds around the water. And the boats are really dramatically flying and hovering above the water, and we're manoeuvring the whole time in that state. And it's very athletic. It's very much an extreme sport, and incredible to participate in, but also spectacular to watch as well.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, you know what? I actually I was watching some clips on YouTube, and actually my first thought was, well, God, this looks like they're going pretty fast here. I'm not sure I'd be able to stomach that at all. It looks pretty scary.
Yeah, no, they do tend to have a few hairy moments on board, especially when the wind gets up.
Yeah, sure.
And the thing is, they look like they're big machines, but they're so sensitive to body weight and little movements, and we're always adjusting stuff constantly to try and keep that boat flying in a safe manner. So even the smallest mistake can be really costly in these boats, and we've had a few moments where we've kind of gone from going 40, 50 miles an hour to being stationary and watch everyone else say around the outside. So those little mistakes can be really costly, but when it's going fast, you're hanging on by the seat of your pants. It's fantastic.
So I think that one of the things that might really excite listeners is just how kind of, how sensitive it is. You're saying it is, and really that means that every kind of millisecond is going to count, isn't it? Because of course every single moment that you're on that boat, you're contributing somehow. Be it even just be where you're standing, your subtle movements and things. That's all feeding into the speed, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, these boats are just incredible machines. As a sailor, it's such a privilege to be able to race them, and they're such a high level of technology, and they demand a massive presence of mind in the sailors as well. Our job, me and Matt, on the front there, is very, very physical, but also it's you need presence of mind to do your job, do the trimming and that sort of thing of the foils and the wing, and if you get any little thing wrong, that we're really on a knife edge when we're doing 60 miles an hour, and it's going to fall off the foils, and it's a car crash at that kind of speed. So we've got a lot of safety gear, we've got things keeping us safe, but ultimately it's up to us to keep the boat flying in a safe and stable manner, and racing around the course with all the other boats as well. In the type of racing that we're doing is close to the shore. There's spectator boats. There's lots of things going on. So we've got a lot of things to balance, and it just means the result is incredible racing to be. As a sailor, it's amazing, but also as a spectator, it's great to watch.
No, it's fantastic. It sounds like seriously adrenaline-fueled watching. It sounds awesome. Where have you been so far, guys, in terms of the competition so far?
Well, we started the circuit in Sydney in February, and then we moved on to the second event in San Francisco, and then we were in New York 1 month ago. So the Cows event is the fourth event of the season, and then there's the final event is in Marseille, is the fifth event, and then for the final race, the winner will take all, which is $1 million prize money. So enormous incentive for everybody to win the circuit, and all the points are cumulative, so every race that we do throughout the whole year counts, and then the top two teams go into a match race, like a final duel just between two teams, and the winner takes all at the end of that race.
Oh, fantastic! It's gonna be tense then. Well, we've definitely got your back, guys. This is fantastic. Keep going with it. Keep going, and it's all inshore, isn't it? So within harbours and things. Is that right? The racing takes place.
Yeah, I mean the locations where we're racing are pretty spectacular, and the idea is that we're bringing it to a new ground. And sailing isn't kind of as you know it, where you're miles offshore and no one can see what's going on.
Yes,
we're bringing these super fast boats to literally within 50 metres off the shore. So yeah, as a spectator, you're kind of seeing something you've never seen before, and as a sailor, you're right on the edge, because a small mistake you could end up being very costly.
Yes.
Yeah, they basically have races in Sydney Harbour, San Francisco under the Golden Gate Bridge, New York under Statue of Liberty. I mean, the backdrops have been fantastic, and to come to the UK as well, to Cows Week, where there's going to be a huge sailing fraternity and lots of boats on the water watching us, it kind of creates its own special theatre. So yeah, we're very lucky to bring sailing to these special places and get such a great audience.
Oh, fantastic. Well, this honestly sounds like every sailor's dream. So any fans of sailing out there, they should certainly check this out. It sounds absolutely fantastic for spectators, as you've been saying. So who else, in terms of the global teams, who else are we in competition with?
Yeah, just something to say with that. The sailing fraternity is obviously very excited about this, but if you're into sports in general, we've had a great summer of sport already. Especially as a British team, we've done fantastically well, and we're hoping to bring sailing to a bigger sort of fraternity here, and the Cows Week event is just going to be fantastic. There's going to be great onshore stuff happening, and the racing is going to be real close. So we're just trying to get people to come down to Cows and enjoy the racing, see if they can enjoy a new sport.
Fantastic. Well, and you know what as well, I think obviously always having been an island nation, obviously sailing is one of the things that we've always been very proud of here in Great Britain, isn't it? So I think it's fantastic to support you guys going forward. So anyone out there, I think certainly check you guys out.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I mean, to go on like Rich was saying, the race village is free. It's just a case of getting a ticket to get down on the ferry to come and come and watch. And then, but if you can't make it, you can watch everything on BT Sport and then on Facebook shortly after that production is finished. So it's really easy to get into and follow the racing. It's amazing how many people have been getting into it and following it that have never ever watched sailing. It really is spectacular to watch and spectacular for us as athletes to be a part of. But it would be fantastic to have some excellent home support, and we're really looking forward to delivering in front of our home crowd.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, chaps. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show with us. Thank you for chatting to us. And I wonder as well, just a couple more questions and I will let you go. First of all, I think you've pretty much covered it all there, but I was just going to double check actually there's anything else that you might urge our listeners to do, so go online or whatever it might be, or just to check out a bit more information. And also, guys, I don't know if I can interest you in this, but I don't know if you've got a kind of a team theme tune in your head, because if you have, I'm going to have to play it on the show. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, there's all the information out there is sailgp.com. You can kind of catch up on all the previous races, see some of the footage of the boats and see what it's all about. We've also got a great app which goes live for racing as well, so you can get special onboard footage of each boat. You can follow the British team exclusively and listen to our communications between the boat and stuff like that. But we did have a theme song that came out at the start of the year, so that was Kasabian and Clubfoot, which keeps us going in the morning.
Oh,
so if you want to play that up next, I'm sure you'll go down well.
Oh, of course. Well, I certainly shall play it. Well, thank you so much, chaps.
Yeah, great shape. Thank you very much for having us.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
That's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much indeed for joining me again on your Thursday morning Science and Celebrity Breakfast show. Coming up next, it's DJ Steve. He is in the building to do his morning break show from 9 o'clock today. I want to thank one of my very special guests for the day. Thanks to Craig Gallivan, star of School of Rock, the musical. Thanks to Aldo Kane, explorer and former Royal Marine. Thanks to Springwatch presenter Michaela Strachan, alongside Head of Climate Change at WWF, Gareth Redmond King. Thanks to Matt, Chris and Rich from Sail GP, the England squad. And thank you very much to Will Mellor, actor and singer Will Mellor. And of course, on the catch-up show, Lucy Alexander will be coming up next as well. Thank you very much for this. You both okay?
Yeah, we're really good. We've had a bit of coffee, so we're quite buzzing. Thank you.
Good. Yes. You know what? I've actually had just a couple of sips of a latte, so I'm feeling okay.
Oh, a latte. That's what you do in Cornwall, is it? Lovely latte.
Of course. Hey, Lucy, it's actually a very warm welcome back as well. We had you on back in Christmas, actually. I can't believe how long ago that is already. So it's a very warm welcome back.
I remember. Oh, yes. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm all good, thanks. I was actually really pleased to see that we hadn't scared you off, actually, Lucy. So you're back. It's amazing.
I'm sure you were very nice to me, but I was very scared at the time. But yeah.
Well, thank you. Far too kind. It's great to have you both. I'll just give you, if it's all good with you both, I'll just give you a chance to just to jump in and introduce yourselves, if that's all right for our listeners. And then, I'll fire some questions your way about this release. So whenever you're ready, you're welcome to just jump right in.
I'm Lucy Alexander, having a little chat to you from Homes Under the Hammer.
And I'm Scott Darragh from Gas Safe Register.
Lucy and Scott, thanks so much. This is, great to have you on, actually. It's an interesting topic and potentially, actually, going to help people making sure they're being safe, actually, because, of course, there are some safety concerns to talk about in this release today. But I guess, first of all, could we touch on people's priorities? Because I know that it's got some research in front of me here looking at people's priorities when they're buying a new home. Lucy, could you outline some of this research and what people are actually looking at when they're buying a new place?
Well, do you know what? This is such an interesting topic for me. I mean, I know that we all want instant gratification when it comes to buying a home, but the stats, I mean, it's incredible. 27% say the most important thing is decorating. Hello, I do go for that. 21% say a new bathroom or kitchen. Hello, yep, I also love that as well. And only 12%, close your ears, Scott, you're going to hate this bit, said a new boiler. Gas Safe Register have said it's too low on their list of priorities. But, you know, I do know it is so important. But for me, if I had $5,000 stashed, sorry, Scott, again, close your ears, the first thing I'd be doing would be probably looking at, what can I decorate my house with? How can I buy some new wallpaper or add some value? But I know safety is first and foremost what we need to be thinking about. And Scott, that is where you're now going to tell me off.
I am going to tell her off.
Come on.
Go on, Scott, let's tell us off.
The thing is, we totally get it. You know, buying a house is it's possibly the biggest purchase people will ever make in their lives. And for most of us, unlike Lucy, buys a house a fortnight. You know, she's really good at it. She's really
spent all my money.
Flicking her system on doing this. But for a lot of people as well, it's not something they do many times in their life. So you don't
get the chance to get good at doing it or to get practice at it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
you might not have in your list of things to do. When you're thinking about all the things that you have to do, we just want to say you might assume that things like gas safety and other bits and the safety of appliances in your house are going to be covered by things like the surveys that you get done, and they're not necessarily going to be. So we just want to get that on the agenda as well and add it somewhere on that long, long list of things that people need to think about when they're buying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there are just so many things to think about. You know, there are so many elements that you need to bring together at the same time when you're buying property. You've got your search. You've got to get that buyer happy. You've got your mortgage application. You've got your dates to think about to move. You're constantly having to check in with the agents. You know, you really just have to navigate through that series of time-sensitive situations. And to add to that is obviously safety. But, you know, having chatted to Scott today, it's so relevant, I think, and so important that I think the message gets out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lucy, of course, being as Scott was saying, being an absolute pro at picking up properties and doing them up.
I'm a saddo. I'm the person that wakes up in the middle of the night to check Rightmove. Okay, everybody, I'm just going to put it out there.
No, that's perfectly fair enough. I mean, you know, you're very good at it, so it's totally fair enough, Lucy. But is this one of the things that you kind of got to? I imagine it could be one of those things you kind of just got to force yourself to do, right? Because I can't even think of how many things you must have to consider on really regularly with your work. But this must be one of those things you just force yourself.
Yeah, there's a huge checklist when buying property. I mean, we could be here all day if I was to really thoroughly go through it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think it's so relevant. It's important. Everybody wants to have their hot water and heating working, but forget that. I think the safety aspect first and foremost. I mean, what is the worst thing that could happen, Scott?
I mean, what we'd always say is gas is a safe fuel. Gas appliances are safe if they're treated with respect and they're working properly. If they go wrong, you can have fatal exposure to things. So a gas appliance that goes wrong could cause fire, explosion. You could be exposed to carbon monoxide, and that can be fatal.
And everybody has heard of that, and I'm sure people know people.
People are increasingly aware of those things. But those are the potential bad things. But so we don't necessarily want to worry people about things they can't do something about. We actually want to say there's preventative things that you can do. And as part of the survey work around here, when you're looking at buying a property, it's making sure it's on the list and saying, well, hang on a minute, is there a gas appliance in the property? What do we know about it? When was it installed? Are there records? Is there evidence of things around there? Are there service records? Was this work done by a gas safe registered engineer who's competent and qualified to do it? Because that's something that came up in the survey. More than 4 in 10 people thought that it's a legal requirement to provide valid boiler servicing records when you buy a house.
Which is incredible, because it's not.
But it's not. So you might think, well, I've got a really comprehensive survey done. That will have picked up anything, and if they don't mention it, it must be fine. But actually, no. A surveyor might walk around, they might say, yeah, we note that the boiler is a little elderly and you might want to look at doing that. Unless they have specifically been asked to get a gas safe registered engineer to look at it, they might not be in a position to make that judgment. So it's just something that you can't assume will happen automatically. You need to take some action to do it.
And I think I always say to people to get a full survey, because it's just worth getting a thicker, fuller, dense survey that you can look through. But you're right, they're not going to have the information and the knowledge on the actual boiler. So I think to have Gas Safe to come in and do that is definitely got to be on your hit list. Gosh, you can really see, can't you, Ben, while property is such an emotional roller coaster.
Of course.
Everybody's like, oh my God, it's the only deal where money, feelings and stress all play a huge part, because it's there's so much to think about.
I find quite amusing, actually, because usually when people ask the question, oh, what's the worst that could happen? Well, actually, when it comes down to gas, it turns out, actually, you don't really want to know, do you? Because it is quite bad. So you do want to make sure it's all okay, basically.
Yeah. And I think it's quite a good message, actually, that Scott has, said today, that, it's not a legal requirement. I can't believe that is not a legal requirement to have on your,
And it's an assumption. The way that you have to get your land registry records, and you have to get, there's a number of things that your solicitor might demand or your mortgage company might demand. This isn't necessarily one of them, but it doesn't make it any less important. Today, we've already recorded another little thing. We have something called the new podcast.
When it's fun.
So that's us chatting about
some of the things, how do you build up your list, some of the things to look at, having a chat about those, and that will be available within the next few hours. So
I'm liking the sound of this.
You'll find that on our website.
Please listen to it, 'cause it's the first thing we did this morning.
Yeah, is it coffee fueled? I hope it is.
It's been really good talking to you again, Ben.
Oh, it's been fantastic to have you both. Thanks very much. And you know what? I'd just like to thank you in my small way by giving you both a song request now. Is that okay? Would you like a song? Because I'd love to play you something.
Go on, you
Go on you. I can't even think of a song.
Oh, go on.
I'd probably have something like Wham or something awesome.
Something suitably apocalyptic. It's the end of the world as we know it. That feels appropriate for every... If you give some REM, I'll always go for that one.
Perfect, Scott. I'll get that on. And Lucy, come on. Do you want some Wham? I mean, that's fine with me. Absolutely fine.
I want Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Perfect. Well, I'll get that on.
Cheesy.
Have a great day, both of you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.